Hey guys, it's Maymay, and today we're looking at the Fiskars Stamp Positioner. Look at this dude. It's really interesting, and I'm loving the design. Now, before we get started, I want to say this stamp positioner is not for everyone. There is a group of you that use these, that still do, that used these back in the day, and you probably still have one that was the, I guess you would say like a long piece like this, and it had an acetate sheet that you put up against it to help you position a stamp. The cool thing about this one is it has a built-in acetate sheet, because I find I tended to lose my acetate sheet and have to replace it all the time. But with this one, it's built in and I can't lose it. So check this out. See this piece on the back? It rolls out. Isn't that cool? It rolls out and it clicks into place, which is important. We'll talk about it in a second. Do you see how it clicks into place? This is your acetate sheet. It's permanent. It stays on and you never lose it. Isn't that cool? So why a stamp positioner? Okay, for most of us, we wouldn't use a stamp positioner anymore because we're using clear, see-through stamps. But I want you to focus and imagine that you had some stamps that were either solid foam and you couldn't see through them, or they were wood block and you couldn't see through them and you wanted to stamp in a very specific spot. Okay, so let's say you wanted to stamp exactly in this spot right here. If you were using a stamp you couldn't see through, like a wood block or one of the cling foam stamps where you can't see your image, you would want to use a stamp positioner for this. Now, I typically use all clear stamps, and today I'm going to show you this using a clear stamp, but it makes sense if you have one that is a solid background stamp. The other thing that it works for is this. If you struggle with getting the images exactly where you want them, maybe you want your stamp image to be exactly in a certain spot and you struggle, you still can use a stamp positioner for that. All right, so here's how this works. Let's say I want to put, what does this say? This says zebra is my favorite color. No, my favorite color is zebra. Let's get it right. All right, so I'm going to ink this little guy up. I'm going to use some VersaFine Onyx Black here. I'm going to ink it just onto my little surface. And what you do, okay, with the acetate, the built-in acetate sheet extended, we're going to stamp on this clear. Now, we're not worried about it being permanent or anything like that. The only thing we're worried about is we want to line up the corner here, and we want to line up the top of our acrylic block here. That's our guide. And the cool thing about this guide that I love is that this snaps into place, so you know it's in the same place every time. All right, I'm going to lift this up. Now, you won't get a perfectly stamped image on your acetate here. You can see that won't be perfect because it is plastic, and you don't want to do this with stays on, because stays on ain't coming off, right? Because it stays on. All right, let's say I want this to go right here, and I just know I'm the worst at stamping, right? So with my little acetate sheet in place, just like so, okay, I can now hold the back of my press and I can close this. Now, you want to be careful not to move your paper. That's why it's got this little handle. I'm closing the acetate. Now I can go back and ink my stamp. I'm doing this in a really bad position. Let me turn to the side. Place this in that corner, okay, and as long as I stay in that corner and stay up to the top with my acrylic block, that's going to stamp exactly where I wanted it. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? So now I know I stamped exactly where I wanted my stamp to go. Now what I do, open this guy back up, and I can wipe this away. I'm just going to use my trusty microfiber cloth here and wipe that away, close this up, and it's good for next time when I need to position something. I love that it's all one piece. You do have to be a little careful with this in the fact that it does snap into place when you get it there. It snaps in, but it still wiggles a little bit because you are going to push it back in, and it has to have this little lip to do that. So you need to be a little mindful of that. It's not going to be super flat on your page because of that little hole for it to slide back into, but it works really well, and I really, really like it. I also love this little hole right here because you could hang this on your wall or hang it near where you stamp and have it whenever you need it. Kudos to Fiskars. I think this is a cool design. I think it would take a little bit of practice to get it exactly perfect, although I'll tell you, that's the first time I've actually stamped with it, and I think it did really well. All right, guys, that's how to use the new Fiskars Stamp Positioner, and I hope you enjoyed that little demonstration. These are available in our store, and I'll be sure to leave a link for you guys below. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye.